All right, I'm going to say something that sounds a little harsh, but it's true. Now, not every seller is lying per chance, right? They're not being malicious about it, but they are editing the truth just a little bit.
Yeah, and if you're buying here in Knoxville, the stuff that costs you the most is almost never the pretty stuff.
Usually it's water, structure, or electrical. And these things you don't really see immediately in a 15 to 30 minute showing.
So today we're going to be covering the 10 common cheat codes sellers use to hide major defects. So you don't get emotionally attached to the house that it's going to be secretly a project.
And look, we're not trying to bash sellers or anything like that. This is just to help buyers get into a home without major issues.
And we've seen it. That's the thing. We've seen it. We've lived through it. So we know that, of course, there are laws here in Knoxville, in the state of Tennessee, that will protect you from that. But really, do you really want to have the law to protect you when you can prevent it? That is our goal.
And oh my God, I actually have a hilarious story that I want to tell you guys, but we'll get into that in just a little bit. And also make sure to stick to the end because we'll give you our 3 major always bring a specialist situations. And this is the type of thing where you'll either save thousands or figure it out the hard way.
I'm Hilmer.
And I'm Christian, and we're based in Knoxville, and we help people buy and sell literally all the time.
A quick note before we get into this. It's not about paranoia. It is about buying smart.
All right, step number 1, or well, cheat number 1 is fresh paint everywhere. Now, don't get me wrong. Painting a house before you leave can absolutely help get your house sold. We're not saying anything against that.
But here is a red flag. Fresh paint in specific spots. Like just one ceiling.
One spot. Magical perfect spot on the ceiling.
One wall section. Or one corner.
And that's where you should ask yourself exactly like what happened here.
Because here is what paint can hide. Prior water stains, patched drywall. Why did you patch it? What happened there? Hairline cracks that keeps coming back.
And now here's how to catch it in a showing. You know all the memes where you have the father like talking about, oh, well, this right here.
The father in the home inspection?
Yeah, they actually have a point. And I love to have parents in a home inspection. I know this is crazy, but this is like the 2nd or 3rd time now that I've had those kinds of situations. And I've just been like, you know what, they're right. But here are the 3 ways to kind of figure that out while you're in a showing. All right, step number 1 is to take a look at those little patches in the ceiling, wherever they are. Bring your camera up to them and take just a little bit of a closer look. Check for a different sheen. And men, this is tough for us because white is white, blue is blue, green is green. But you got to think of eggshell versus a flat mismatch. And number 3, take a look at those ghost lines where that patching was done. Like if they have just about perfect matching, everything's so good, there's still gonna be a tiny little line showing exactly where that patch job was done. So always keep an eye out for that.
And ask the question. It might be just...
Maybe the dog scratched the wall,
Yeah, and it's 100% valid. Ask the question, what happened here? We would like to know. And if the answer is just not the best, then you can suspect that there was something else.
Yeah, body language speaks volumes, right? Because even though they might be saying, oh, no, nothing was going on, they might be like, no, nothing happened there. And you can catch that immediately.
Paint. Talking about paint. If you painted your home today and you do a patch next year, you will have to paint the whole thing, the whole wall at least, because your wall, the paint is going to age, and the one in the can, it's going to be so new. Even if you saved it, it's not going to age the same way. Now, as for repair receipts, if there are any repairs done by a professional, they should have a receipt of what was going on, why was done, when was done. If it is near a bathroom, window, roof line, assume water until it's proven otherwise.
And keep a note of this for the inspection, right? Because if you keep it in mind and the inspector comes back and says, hey, this is kind of weird, you're probably right. I'm going to be honest with you, when it comes to homes, if you have a suspicion about it, it's probably true. You're probably asking yourself, what do I do here? How do we get this stuff taken care of? How do we look at this stuff? What do we do if we see these things? Well, here's the thing. During the inspection, because even if you put an offer in on a home, you still have an inspection period of usually 7 days where you can take a look at the inspection and say, you know what, I'm good. I'm going to walk away, and I think 100% of the time still keep your earnest money. So, during the inspection, keep an eye on things, and if it's suspect, just forget about it. It's not worth it. Now, if there's a basement or a crawl space, absolutely 99% of the time, keep your eye on it. Tennessee is huge for basements and big crawl spaces. So that's honestly one of the first things I look into. It's walk into the home, turn the lights on. All right, let's go to the crawl space, because that tells 100% of the story 100% of the time.
And let's be real. Knoxville and East Tennessee in general, it's humid. The weather here is humid. So you're always going to have humidity in a crawl space, but there are levels. So if those levels are way up, it's just not worth it. It's going to cost you money. And I think to get that issue resolved, you're not going to be spending less than $10,000. You either love the home and ask the seller to repair it, or you love the home and take the risk. But just know, just in your inspection, just ask all of the questions that you need to, because again, there are things that you're not going to go through. What about if you don't want to go through the crawl space because you don't like it? And there is an issue after all. So let's do your inspections, get it all over, and get it done.
All right, cheat number 3, and this is one that we notice also quite a bit: magical furniture placement. The gigantic L couch is just perfectly on that spot of the wall where you can't see anything. And right behind it, they have a gigantic mirror. Why is that there?
Or, why is that bed blocking the whole wall? It's often hiding cracks, stains, wavy floors, a patched hole, baseboard swelling, and many more.
And here's how you catch what's behind that furniture. You can move it. Obviously, be respectful and ask before you do anything like that, please. You can look at the baseboards and the trim at the floor. The trim also tells a gigantic story. And look for that brand new, fresh out of the plastic, still has the tag on it, rug, only in one specific spot of the floor.
Now, I got a note for Knoxville specific. Wavy floors are kind of normal-ish. But if it feels bouncy or sloped, you want an inspector to pay attention to those areas, especially if there's a crawl space. Also, if the floor slopes like one way or the other, get a structural inspection. I mean, we have a whole team behind us of people that can help you buy the right home and be successful and not find surprises after you buy.
Another cheat code to look out for is new flooring in only one room. Because don't get us wrong, flooring, brand new flooring throughout the household, fantastic. We love that. But why is it only in one room? Common hidden issues are pet urine in the subfloors, and getting that smell out, almost absolutely impossible unless you replace the subfloor. A prior water intrusion, something else you won't really notice, right? Until you notice it, if that makes sense. It's something that you'll step on it every day, and then one day your foot may genuinely go through the floor. Another one is that there's rot near the exterior doors. If you see just 1 or 2 pieces of new flooring in the back door, definitely rot. And another one is DIY patchwork. And this is where we say ask questions, because there's nothing, seriously, very seriously, there's nothing wrong with a DIY patchwork, right? But ask why.
Now, you can be on the lookout to catch those things. Walk around the toilet. Now, I know it sounds difficult, but please do. Taps, dishwashers.
Kitchen sinks. I mean, just take a step. Just 1 or 2 steps. And if you get a little squish, oof, no thanks.
Again, ask questions.
Yep.
The other one is a brand new quarter round. Why is there? What are you hiding?
Old baseboards with new quarter rounds. No BS. I have seen this before, and I was just like, now wait a minute. What's going on over there? Now, you're probably asking yourself, with all these cheats so far, what do you do, right? Well, and it's very important. Just ask your inspector to check, especially for the water damage. Check that subflooring, check that moisture level, and the integrity of the subfloor in those zones. And if there are histories of leaks, ask if they've been remedied. I went into a house one time where there was a piece of roof that looked like it got patched up quite recently. And I did, in fact, ask the seller, hey, this looks, like it's been some sort of leak. When was this patched? What's going on here? And they actually ended up showing me receipts of when the work was done. And it was actually done, I think, like 2 or 3 years prior to the house being sold. So again, always really good to ask questions, because you might be surprised with the answer in one way or the other. All right, moving on to cheat number 5, and this is a pretty big one here, specifically in Knoxville, and it's landscaping that fixes water problems.
Now, don't get me wrong. I do suggest to my sellers to do fresh mulch, right? But that can also be hiding some other things, some water issues or water intrusion. Now, there are red flags when you see the mulch all packed up against the siding. Downspouts just dumping right at the foundation. New dirt that looks like was just put there yesterday.
Now, a good story on this new dirt. So with a couple of my last clients who were looking for one of their first time homes, I saw a patch of new dirt. And I take a look at this patch, and immediately my red flags are starting to go off, and I go over and I step on the dirt, because we're pretty hands-on when we do our inspections. I was taught really well by a great realtor, and she always told me, when you see new dirt or things like that, step on it. I never understood why until I finally stepped on it. My foot almost went into the foundation. So if you see new dirt, be curious. Take a step. Take a look, see what's going on.
And be mindful also when you go to the basement, smell. What does it smell like? When I go into a house, I'm always asking myself, what does this house smells like? Because every house is going to smell differently. It's going to smell your cooking, your way of living. So I'm always mindful of what the house smells like, and especially when you go into the basement. If there is furniture, if there is not. I mean, so many things that play that you need to take in account to just get out. If there are red flags, I mean, why bother? It's just, there are 10,000 other houses for sale that you will find lovely.
I said this earlier, and I'll say it again. If you've got a suspicion, 99% of the time, you're right.
Trust your gut.
So if you're asking yourself, well, how do you catch, some of these things that you guys are talking about? Well, first off, we'll do that for you. But if you want to do it yourself, here's how. Walk the perimeter of the household. Does the sloping go away from the house, right? Is it going that way, or is it going into the house? If it's going into the house, not very good. Where do the gutters discharge? And this is something like incredibly important that I understand how people miss it, because it's not something that's on your mind all the time. But if the gutters are discharging directly down into the foundation, or just directly down into the dirt right next to the foundation, that water, trust me, will find its way into your foundation. So check where those gutters are discharging. Hopefully there's black piping or the little cement piece that drives that water somewhere else. And lastly, make sure to look for efflorescence. That's that chalky white stuff on the basement walls. And that's really important too.
And again, on your inspection, if any of that is a concern, talk to your inspector. Usually they're going to call you, or at least our people is going to call you and ask, do you have any concerns? Do you have anything that you want me to look deeper into? And if it's something that they think that you need another level of inspection, like if it's an engineer, if it's an electrician, I mean, whomever it is, then we'll go to the next step and they'll let us know.
And this is something that I really like specifically about our inspectors, is that whenever the inspection is scheduled and it's being done, I take my clients to the inspection near the end. And my inspector actually gave a full rundown of the entire inspection that he had. He said, hey, everything's going to be in the report I'm about to make, but here are some of my top concerns. Here are some of my top questions. Or, hey, I don't really have any top concerns or top questions. Everything's pretty normal. Everything's kind of running smoothly. You just need your regular maintenance and move on.
Well, if you're buying a house during rainy season and it is by chance a basement, it'll be a great idea to go and do your inspection the day after it rains. Of course, it's not possible all year round, but that's a tip. If you can, just do it after rain. Cheat number 6, fresh caulk. Very nice, right?
But sometimes it's freshly caulked because the tub was leaking for months and they didn't care to fix it until they wanted to sell the house.
Watch for brand new caulking only in one bathroom. Swelling at the vanity base, loose tiles, or soft drywall near the tops or shower.
And here's how to catch it. Look under the sink, press lightly on the vanity, lightly, please. And if it's a little soft, that's usually moisture. And if there's a level underneath the bathrooms, take a look at that, because that's going to tell you everything and anything.
Big stories. Now, usually inspectors focus on where the plumbing areas are and check for moisture around those areas. So if there is an active leak, just negotiate within your repairs. If it's not a big deal, it'll be just fine. And if it is a big deal, either the seller will repair it or you can just go on and find another place.
All right, cheat number 7, and this is a verbal cheat. It's when they say, oh, it's always been like that. Don't worry about it.
And it might be okay, but don't accept that response without further verification.
And here are some of the examples. Oh, that stain was from years ago. Or the basement only gets water during huge storms. And, oh man, yeah, the lights flicker because of the power company.
Now let's make sure that you get those things in writing. Make the inspector note it in your report. And if it is structural, electrical, or water of some sort, consider a specialist. Believe me, it's going to be cheaper for you to pay the next level specialist than buying the home and finding biggest issues.
Yep. Now, Tennessee's disclosure framework focuses on known defects, but it's still to the best of my knowledge, which is why inspections are so important.
Cheat number 8, blocking the access to the crawl space. If the attic access got mysteriously blocked or the crawl space is hard to reach,
that's exactly why you want to reach it. You know what I mean? Because what are they hiding and why are they doing that? Now, why does this matter, right? Why does it matter if they're blocking the attic or the crawl space? I never go in the attic. I only put boxes up there and leave. I surely never go into the crawl space. Spiders? Yeah, no thanks. But the attic tells you an immense story about a house, right? It tells you if there have ever been roof leaks, if there are rotting pieces of wood up there, how the ventilation of the roof is going, and any previous repairs that have been done on the house.
Broken rafters, many things.
Now, crawl spaces are incredibly important as well, even as horrible as it is to go in them, especially from someone who does not like to go into crawl spaces. I still do it anyway. Because crawl spaces tell you something really important. They tell you about moisture, they tell you about rot, and they tell you about pests. So always try to look at the attic and the crawl space if you're looking at a new home or any home at all. Now, cheat number 9, and this is a pretty tough one to deal with sometimes. It's that as is language. As is gets pretty misunderstood sometimes.
Yeah. As is doesn't magically erase the reality. It usually means the seller doesn't want to make any repairs. Not that the house has no issues.
And also, sellers can actually be exempt from certain disclosure requirements on special occasions. So, buyers, you guys really need to rely on inspections because they will tell the entire story. And trust me, the inspection reports, well, some are like 80, 90 pages. Okay, so truly they tell the whole story.
Now, what you should do, don't waive inspections. Tighten your inspection window with the specialty contractors or special inspectors early. And budget for those specialty contractors early on. Now, cheat number 10, distracting you with upgrades while all systems are failing. And this is the HGTV cheat.
Now, we're talking about like new countertops, but the roof looks 22 years old. They have a new backsplash, but the electrical panel is interesting.
The big systems issues, roofing, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, those are considered some of the big inspection findings. And you need to know these things, and that's how to catch it. How old is the water heater? How old is your HVAC? Look at the electrical panel. Don't touch it though. Check the water heater area for rust, leaks, rotting.
And if you're asking yourself, what do I do? How do I kind of get this information? How do I check if this is an actual upgrade or not? Ask for the documentation on when those major purchases were done. If they don't have it or they magically can't find it anymore, that should be either a pink or a red flag, depending on kind of the situation, because if the house is like 30 years old and these people just moved in 5 years prior, highly doubt they're going to have any, documentation of when the last time the water heater was replaced unless they did it themselves. Another thing to do is negotiate credits, repairs, or a home warranty when systems are near the end of their life. I did that for my last clients and they used the home warranty within a week of moving into the home. So very, very, very important to do so, and very important for a real estate agent to catch that early on so they don't run into the issue of, well, now I have a $20,000 issue that I need to fix because I didn't get a home warranty.
If you're buying here in Knoxville, don't get scared. Get a system on how to buy your house.
We're talking walkthrough checklist, ask better questions. Do not be afraid to ask a question. This is the house you're moving into for the next 5 to 30 years. Ask questions. And inspect like you mean it. Once again, the dad meme of the dad looking at the house and looking at every square inch. They have a reason to do that. Are they always right? No. But they have very good intentions and they're very true. And it's very good that you do that as well, because it's important to know what's going on in the place you're moving into.
If you want, we have a Knoxville relocation guide. Just ask us for it. Text, email, comment below, and we'll send it to you.
And if you're moving within the next 90 days or 1 year, I don't really care. If you're thinking about moving to Knoxville, shoot us a call. Shoot us a text, shoot us an email, whatever you want. We'll help you out. We are answering, nobody else is. We don't have automatic systems. We are answering you directly. We'll help you spot the cheats before you get emotionally invested.
Now, if you're watching on your TV, which you probably are, nighttime, bedtime stories, this is our QR code. You can direct link for a Zoom meeting with us, 30 minutes, brainstorm, get information, what to do, when to do, how to do, and we'll guide you through it.
Or if you just want to say hi, honestly, we'll happy
we'll
to
love
talk.
it.
Yeah. We don't need to be salespeople all the time. We can be normal people too.
See you next time.